So we completed our discussion on Raganuga Bhakti yesterday, and we are beginning with chapter 17, third layer of Eastern Division of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, that is on Bhav Bhakti. And before we begin, can someone recall the definition of Vaidhi Bhakti?
Following the rules and regulations of bhakti under the injunctions of the spiritual master under compulsion. Like there's no motivation from within, but under the compulsion of or injunctions of the spiritual master, the person is doing, devotee is doing the
Mhm.
following the rules and regulations.
Okay, that is the definition of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. I'm asking the definition of Vaidhi Bhakti. We discussed in either chapter 1 or chapter 2 of this book. What is the
So,
definition of Vaidhi Bhakti?
sadhana bhakti is a practice which is executed with the senses and which brings on the manifestation of bhav bhakti.
Yeah. So these are the practices which are executed through senses. So they are those sets of activities which, when executed with senses, it leads to awakening of bhava in the heart of spiritual practitioner. Right. So we discussed this in I think chapter 1 or chapter 2. I think in chapter 2. So now, going by the same definition, those practices are executed and it leads to generation of awakening of bhava in the heart. So let us begin with chapter 17, ecstatic love. By the process of executing regulated devotional service, one is actually elevated onto the transcendental stage, beyond the material modes of nature. At that time, one's heart becomes illuminated like the sun. The sun is far above the planetary systems, and there is no possibility of its being covered by any kind of cloud. Similarly, when a devotee is purified like the sun, from his pure heart there is a diffusion of ecstatic love, which is more glorious than the sunshine. Only at that time is the attachment to Krishna perfect. Spontaneously, the devotee becomes eager to serve the Lord in his ecstatic love. At this stage, the devotee is on the platform of Uttama Adhikari, perfect devotion. Such a devotee has no agitation from material affections and is interested only in the service of Radha and Krishna. To clarify, in the previous chapters, the symptoms of devotional service were explained along with instructions as to how we may execute devotional service with our present senses and gradually rise to the platform of ecstasy in spontaneous love. And the two kinds of devotional service, namely devotional service through regulative principles and through spontaneous love, were discussed. Within the stage of the regulative principles of devotional service, there are two divisions, namely executive and effective. This effective portion of devotional service is called bhav or ecstasy. In this connection, there is a statement in the Tantras that ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love for the personality of Godhead. And in that stage, one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. Not always are these symptoms manifest, but occasionally. When King Amrish was put into difficulty by Durvasa, he began to think of the lotus feet of the Lord. And thus, there were some changes in his body and tears were falling from his eyes. These symptoms are activities of ecstasy. They are visible in the shivering of the body and the shedding of tears. After the outward appearance of these ecstatic symptoms, they stay within the mind, and continuation of the ecstasy is called samadhi. This stage of appreciation becomes the cause of future exchanges of loving affairs with Krishna. Elevation to this stage of ecstasy can be possible in two ways. One way is by constant association with pure devotees. The other way is by the special mercy of Krishna or by the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna. Elevation to the ecstatic stage of life is generally attained through association with pure devotees, while elevation to that stage by the special mercy of Krishna or his devotee is very rare. The purport is that one should execute devotional service rigidly in the association of devotees so that there will be certainty in raising oneself to that ecstatic position. In special cases, of course, there is special favor from Krishna, and although we should always expect that, we should not sit idly and simply wait for Krishna's special mercy. The regular duties must be performed. It is just as when sometimes it is found that a person who never attended school or college may be recognized as a great scholar, or an honorary degree from great universities may be offered to him. But this does not mean that one should avoid school and expect to automatically receive an honorary degree from some university. Similarly, one should devoutly execute the regulative principles of devotional service and at the same time hope for Krishna's favor or his devotees' favor. An example of rising to the stage of ecstatic love by executing the regulative principles of devotional service is given in the life story of Narad, which is described to Vyasadeva in Srimad Bhagavatam. Narad tells there of his previous life and how he developed to the stage of ecstatic love. He was engaged in the service of great devotees and used to hear their talks and songs. Because he had the opportunity to hear these pastimes and songs of Krishna from the mouths of pure devotees, he became very attracted within his heart. Because he had become so eager to hear these topics, he gradually developed within himself an ecstatic love for Krishna. This ecstatic love is prior to the pure love of Krishna. Because in the next verse, Narad confirms that by gradual process of hearing from the great sages, he developed love of Godhead. In that connection, Narad continues to say in the first canto, 5th chapter, verse 28 of the Bhagavatam, "First, I passed my days in the association of the great sages during the rainy autumn season in the Chaturmasya. At present, second mass of Chaturmasya going on. It's a very beautiful verse to meditate. Every morning and evening, I heard them while they were singing and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and thus my heart gradually became purified. As soon as I heard them with great attention, the influence of the modes of material ignorance and passion disappeared, and I became firmly fixed in devotional service to the Lord. This is a practical example of how one can develop to the stage of ecstatic love simply by the association of pure devotees. It is essential, therefore, that one constantly associate with pure devotees who are engaged morning and evening in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. In this way, one will get the chance to purify his heart and develop this ecstatic pure love for Krishna. The statement is also confirmed in the third canto, 25th chapter, verse 25 of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapila says, "My dear mother, when a person is actually in association with pure devotees, the sublime potency of my devotional service can be experienced. In other words, when a pure devotee speaks, his words act upon the heart of the audience. What is the secret of hearing and chanting? A professional speaker cannot impress transcendental ecstasy within the hearts of the listeners. However, when a realized soul who is engaged in the service of the Lord is speaking, he has the potency to inject spiritual life within the audience. One should therefore seek the association of such pure, unalloyed devotees, and by such association and service, a neophyte devotee will certainly develop attachment, love, and devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So I'll read this again. What is the secret of hearing and chanting? Everything, same text is being read. But when they emanate from the lotus mouth of a pure devotee, when they come from a realized soul who's engaged in the service of the Lord, he has the potency to inject spiritual life within the audience. And that is why one should therefore seek the association of such pure, unalloyed devotees. And by such association and service, a neophyte devotee will certainly develop attachment, love, and devotion for the Supreme Personality of God. And oftentimes, that is why one of the reason why it is so much emphasized upon reading Srila Prabhupada books as primary source of our nourishment, because these are also Bhaktivedanta purports. Srila Prabhupada spoke them, and they carry a very, very powerful potency. In the Padma Puran, there is a story of a neophyte devotee who, in order to raise herself to the ecstatic platform, danced all night to invoke the Lord's grace upon her. Sometimes, however, it is found that without undergoing any devotional process, one all of a sudden develops devotion for Lord Krishna. This sudden development of the devotional attitude in a person must be understood as a special mercy of Krishna or of his devotee. This apparently accidental development of ecstatic feelings through the causeless mercy of Krishna can be divided into three groups: simply by speaking, simply by glancing, and simply by good wishes. In the Naradiya Purana, there is a statement about development of ecstatic love simply by speaking. Lord Krishna said to Narad, "O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness." In the Skand Purana, there is a statement about developing ecstatic love towards Krishna simply by glancing. It is stated there, when the inhabitants of Jungle province saw the personality of Godhead Krishna, they were so stricken with feeling that they could not withdraw their glance from him. As far as heartfelt wishes are concerned, there is a statement in the Shuka Samhita where Narad tells Srila Vyasadeva, "You have a son who is the greatest devotee of the personality of Godhead, and I can observe that without any falling of the regulative principles of devotional service, he is already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by the execution of devotional service after many, many births." As for the ecstatic love for Krishna, there is a statement in the 7th canto, 4th chapter, verse 36 of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Narad addresses King Yudhishthira. "My dear king, it is very difficult to describe the character of Prahlad. He developed a natural attraction for Krishna, and whatever I can explain about his character will simply be an arrangement of words. His actual character is impossible to describe." This means that Narad himself admitted that the natural development of Prahlad's ecstatic love was by the grace of Lord Krishna. This natural attraction for Krishna on the part of Prahlad was developed simply by the mercy of Narad. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narad about the science of devotional service, and at the same time, Narad was wishing that the child within the womb could also take advantage of the instructions. Because Narad, an authorized devotee and great associate of the personality of Godhead, was desiring auspiciousness for Prahlad Maharaj, he developed all the characteristics of a high grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of the personality of Godhead, or by the special grace of a great devotee like Narad. Many times it happens that a person, how come we are able to practice devotional service? It is simply because many of the pure devotees are desiring, they are wishing us that we may progress further. Otherwise, there can be so many faulty habits, there can be so many errors and loopholes, and so many shortcomings. But despite all that, the very fact that a person is able to chant 16 rounds, they are able to get up early in the morning, they are able to render some service. How is it possible? It is because our the well wishes of Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, and our own spiritual master, and it actually becomes possible by their grace. There is a statement in the Skand Puran wherein Parvat Muni tells Narad, "My dear Narad, of all saintly person, you are so great and glorious that simply by your good wishes, a low-born hunter has also become a great elevated devotee for Lord Krishna." So if you simply please a Vaishnava and he simply wishes you well for your spiritual life, that is the greatest treasure that we can behold in our lives. This ecstatic love for Krishna can be divided into 5 divisions, which will be described by Sri Rupa Goswami later on. Okay, a brief discussion about chapter 17. So Srila Prabhupada is in this paragraph summarizing the third wave of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and gives a synopsis of what exactly is Bhava Bhakti. So in the previous chapters, we discussed through regulative principles and through spontaneous love. Now he says further that within the stages of regulative principles of devotional service, there are 2 divisions, namely executive and effective. Now, this particular stage of regulative principle, it does not mean Vaidhi Bhakti. It means something else. We'll come to that. So there are 2 divisions, namely executive and effective. Executive is sadhana, Vaidhi Bhakti. Executive is Vaidhi Bhakti, and effective is Bhav Bhakti. Why so? Sadhana is executive because it involves execution of devotional practices. And Bhava is effective because the effect of executing those practices is awakening of Bhava. And that is why it is called as effective. That's the effect of executing devotional practices. So actually, in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, the verse says, Cheshta Rupa. This mm, this regulative principle of devotional service, the phrase is not Vaidhi Sadhana. The phrase that Srila Rupa Goswami uses in the verse is Cheshta Rupa. And then there are 2 divisions of pure devotional service, Uttama Bhakti. One is Cheshta Rupa. What do we mean by Cheshta Rupa? Cheshta Rupa means it is through your endeavors, one's own endeavor. Cheshta karna. And then the other is Bhava Rupa. And within the stage of regulative principle, so this we are talking about चेष्ट रूप. अब इसके अंदर चेष्ट रूप के अंदर भी ये 2 कैटेगरीज हैं, एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड इफेक्टिव. Executive, they are the endeavors that cause bhava, and effective means one is that they are the effect of executive, and second is they are the endeavors that result from bhava. Are you, or is it, are you able to get it? इफेक्टिव, इसका नाम इफेक्टिव इसलिए है क्योंकि एक एग्जीक्यूट करने का जो इफेक्ट है वो भाव है, और भाव के इफेक्ट से जो कार्य किया जाए इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे, that is another meaning of this effective. These are the endeavors that result from bhava.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हाँ जी माता जी।
हरी बोल प्रभु जी, आपने जैसे अभी बोला दो है, एक तो एग्जीक्यूटिव हो गया वैधि भक्ति एंड इफेक्टिव हो गया भाव भक्ति, और उसके बाद आपने बोला कि ज्येष्ठ रूपा और भाव रूपा ये किसके डिवीजन है दोनों?
ये उत्तमा भक्ति के डिवीजन है।
तो
आएंगे इस
मतलब
पे भी आएंगे, अभी एक बार एक एक करके आएंगे।
नहीं तो अभी आप ज्येष्ठ,
हाँ, ज्येष्ठ रूपा का अर्थ होता है जो एंडेवर्स है, और भाव रूपा का होता है
जो इफेक्टिव है, इंडिविजुअल से जो इफेक्ट आया है।
नहीं, actually let me show you by writing, otherwise I'll come to this in a while. Let us just let me summarize this chapter first, and I'll revisit this section little. So what is we discussed the definition of Vaidhi Bhakti, we discussed the definition of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, then there's a definition of Raganuga Bhakti, and now what is the definition of Bhav Bhakti? Srila Prabhupada translates. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryanshu Samya Bhak Ruchi Bhi Chittam Ashrinya Krit Asau Bhava Uchyate. Krit Asau Bhava Uchyate. It is called as Bhava. What? Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. When devotional service is executed on the transcendental platform of pure goodness, it is like a sun ray of love for Krishna. Prema Surya Anshu Samya Bhag. Surya Anshu, Ansh, ek ray. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and one is then situated in bhava. So, what is the primary characteristic of bhava? It is Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. This is the primary characteristic of Bhav Bhakti. It is a stage when Shuddha Sattva enters the heart of practitioner, enter the heart of that particular devotee. That is when this Bhav Bhakti, that's the beginning of Bhav Bhakti. Shuddha Sattva is different from Sattva. Sattva is mode of goodness, but Shuddha Sattva is it comes under the Lord internal potency. And the function of Lord's internal potency is to revive living entities' dormant love for Krishna. Just like a dormant seed cannot grow without being touched by the heat and light of the sun, similarly, love of Godhead, prema, is like a seed lying dormant in the heart of every living entity. It cannot grow without the touch of Lord's own Antaranga Shakti, internal potency, devotional energy. That is Shuddha Sattva. So when this Shuddha Sattva enters into the heart through the mercy of a pure devotee, at that time the prema begins to sprout. And bhava is nothing but prema in its preliminary budding stage. And that is why Srila Rupa Goswami describes it as prema ankura, the first sprout of prema. That is why it is called prema suryansha, first ray, a ray of the sun of prema. So bhava is a sun ray and prema is the sun itself. Prema is compared to a sun and bhava is compared to that first ray from that sun. So qualitatively sun and sun rays are same, but quantitatively they are different. Right? So bhava is a platform where the full manifestation of prema will happen. And that was the primary characteristic. And what is the secondary characteristic? It is Chit Mashranya. That means Chitta, that is the heart. Mashranya. Masranya is the softness. When the heart becomes soft, it softens the heart. And what happens when the heart becomes soft? It gives rise to various tastes. Just like in the Bhagavatam, you may recall that verse where in the second canto, which says that certainly that heart is steel framed, which upon hearing the holy name of the Lord does not melt. But when the person is on the platform of bhav, the heart melts like anything. It softens. And Srila Prabhupada describes that how bhava is the first symptom of prema, pure love of God. So it says it leads to give rise to various kinds of taste. What are those tastes? So there are three tastes that one that one experiences on the platform of bhava. First is prapti abhilash, means desire to achieve Krishna. Second is anukulya abhilash, desire to please Krishna with various services. And third is Sauhard Abhilash, desire to be close at heart with Krishna. So this Srila Jeev Goswami comments on this particular verse of Bhakti from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So how can one achieve Bhav Bhakti? So that Srila Prabhupada mentions as there are two ways it happens. One is by one's own practice, by ardent spiritual practice, and second by the mercy of Krishna. And what is the prescribed process? Srila Prabhupada translates this constant association with pure devotees also. He uses in the same way in further readings that we just took, that executing the practices of devotional services and association with pure devotees. He interchanges this phrase. So he gives an example, just like a person may receive an honorary degree from university because of his special abilities or qualities or contributions. But this does not mean that all the students sit idle and wait that someday some university will give them an honorary degree. It is not going to happen like that. The prescribed process is to have strong spiritual practices. And there have been many cases, some rare cases of devotees receiving mercy and special favors from Krishna. And there are a couple of examples, even in our ISKCON movement. There was one devotee who, a very seemingly new devotee, somewhere in Italy, I think, received a dream of leave your job and go to Vrindavan. He woke up, something happened with him, he dropped everything, went to Vrindavan. Within 1 month, he was detected cancer, left body in few days in association of Vaishnavas hearing holy name. The special calling that comes. That happens. I know another devotee from, if you have done Govardhan Parikrama, and there's a Uddhav Kund, and there's a very famous pujari there. So one time he was explaining how he came to Govardhan. He was working, and suddenly one day he felt so drawn to Govardhan and felt a calling within his heart, left everything, just came to Govardhan, Vrindavan, with nothing, no contact, no money, simply came there and depended upon Krishna and never left Govardhan since then. I know one more person during the month of Kartik. I was coming from, it was Ras Purnima day, and in the evening I was coming from Yamuna to my place of residence. So it was a little late in the night and I took a lift. So there was a person on a bike. So while we were on the way, I asked him, what do you do and how did you come here? So he came from a company for some particular work 2 years back, and it was simply a few days work. But when he came here, he felt so attracted to the place, he never returned. It left the entire company, it dropped it, and he never even went back to his own family. Although he was in touch with family, and he did not know anything about Krishna or Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He did not know about ISKCON or any such thing. He was living there from 2 months, 2 years, and was teaching some subject, doing something here and there. But he felt so attracted within his heart that he said something overtook me, and I'm not able to take a step away from this place. And I don't know, he knew nothing about, it's a Vrindavan, it's a place of Krishna, and so on. And gradually, of course, he was through association with various person, he was learning and cultivating. So in special rare cases, it happens like that. But prescribed process is to follow the regulative principles of devotional service. And so bhava happens through practice or through by mercy. And practice means Vaidhi or by Raganuga. So then we also say how by the story that comes, that is Srila Prabhupada quotes here. There was one. So, what is the story from the Padma Puran? So, in this story, there is a lady. The name of the lady is Chandrakanti. She saw the deity of Krishna. And simply by seeing the deity of Krishna, there's a strong desire which arose in her to dance with Krishna throughout the night. So that dancing is an example of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, because she desired to develop the sentiments of Ragatmika, in this case the gopis of Braj. And through this Raganuga Sadhana, she achieved bhava, which is evidenced by the fact that she remained dancing all the night without wasting a moment on rest. So that is one of the symptoms of bhava bhakti, avyarth kalatvam. And so this mercy and so one way of receiving bhav is by practice, and the other is by mercy, and mercy comes through three ways: words, glances, and good wishes. Vachika, darshandan, and harda. Right? And all three examples are given. How it happens? What is the example that is given of vachika by verbal blessings? We read. What is the example that is given of vachika, verbal blessings? Can someone tell? This is Lord Krishna says to Narad Muni.
Yeah. Yes, O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service.
What is the example that is given of darshandan, blessings by personal appearance? So when the inhabitants of Shandal province saw the personality of God and Krishna, they were so stricken with the feeling. And in fact, there is one more example that comes in Chaitanya Bhagavat, when Gaurang Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas and he was traveling to Jagannath Puri with his associates, with Nityanand Prabhu and Mukunda and Jagdananda. So they were going to Jagannath Puri, and on the border, on the province of Bengal and Odisha, so they had to cross a river, but and they had stayed at the night of they had stayed in the home of a zamindar there. So Lord Chaitanya, it said, simply by when Lord Chaitanya glanced, simply by his glance of Lord Gaurang Mahaprabhu, all the material desires within the heart of that zamindar were destroyed, and he became mad in Krishna's love. And then how he helped Gaurang Mahaprabhu by arranging a boat in the night, and they were able to cross the river, because at that time there was a war, there was some sort of tension going between the two states, and there were Guptachar who would, if they would see any pilgrim, they would catch him and they would kill him. So even the boatman was very afraid to take Lord Chaitanya. But when Lord Chaitanya assured him, why you are afraid? Don't you see the Sudarshan desk? And they asked Nityanand Prabhu to chant holy names loudly. So in that context, it is said when Lord Gaurang Mahaprabhu had put a glance on that zamindar, who was the owner of that place, all the material desires within his heart. So that is our aspiration, to have glance, that merciful glance from Krishna and from Gaurang Mahaprabhu. So when we come in the front of deities, actually we get a lot of blessings simply by the glance of the deities on us. And what is the last example of heartfelt blessings? Harda, that means simply a person do not speak in this case, simply by his desire, simply by his wishes. So what is the example? Narad Muni tells Vyasadeva about Shukdev Goswami, and then there is a address about Prahlad Maharaj. That how is it that both heard from Narad Muni, the mother of Prahlad and Prahlad, who was simply a child in the womb, both heard, but only Prahlad became pure devotee, and why not his mother? Simply because Narad, it was in the mind and heart of Narad. He was actually willing that that child within the mother would become a pure devotee. Right? So this is through mercy. And I'm sorry I'm going a little over time, but I thought to simply show you just one. I'll take 5 more minutes so that the discussion is going on and we conclude that discussion. About Bhav Bhakti. So this is what the summary of the entire chapter is. So we'll discuss the definition of Bhav Bhakti from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. The verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has been quoted there and proper translated there. That's why I showed you that verse. So this is the definition of Bhav Bhakti. So before you come tomorrow, please revisit the definitions, the standard definitions of Vaidhi Bhakti, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, and Bhav Bhakti. Right? These 4 definitions, please revisit them. I'll ask them in tomorrow's class, tomorrow's reading session. And this was about the definition, primary characteristic, the transcendental platform of pure goodness. That means Lord's internal potency enters the heart, and only by the mercy of pure devotee. That is why it is said Shravanam, from bona fide devotees. And the secondary characteristics, it softens the heart, gives rise to the various tastes. What are those tastes? Desire to achieve Krishna, desire to please Krishna through various, and close at heart with Krishna. Through the commentary of Jiva Goswami. How is this different from Sadhana Bhakti? Sadhana is executive, whereas Bhava is effective. Nature of Bhava, it permeates our consciousness to such an extent that it appears to be one with the mind, called Samadhi. How Bhava is achieved? Through Sadhana Bhakti, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. The result of following Sadhana Bhakti is to come to the platform of Bhava Bhakti. And or through special mercy, by Lord's mercy or devotee's mercy. And through Sadhana Bhakti, we discuss the examples of Narad Muni and statements of Lord Kapila Dev, how a neophyte has to serve from the personal life of Narad Muni, he describes how in the association of Bhaktivedanta during Chaturmasya, he heard from them and he served them and he developed bhav. And from the statements of Lord Kapiladev, from Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, Chandrakanti, that story from Padma Puran, and then through special mercy, Lord's mercy, and devotees' mercy. So, through special mercy, how does one receive Lord's mercy? Through Vachika, through Darshan, and Hridaya. And what about devotees' mercy? There are two case studies that Srila Rupa Goswami gives here, both in relation to Narad Muni. How Mrigari received the blessing of Narad Muni and how Prahlad Maharaj both became pure devotees because of Narad Muni's good wishes. So that is where we conclude, and simply we can see how important it is to have mercy of devotees in our lives, and we can have we can also receive those mercies simply by our own humility and service and proper service to them. Okay, so we'll conclude here. Thank you very much for your kind patience. Hare Krishna. So we'll discuss further about Bhav Bhakti tomorrow. Any comments, question, if you want, you can ask. And if someone wishes to leave, please feel free to leave. Or if you have any questions, you can ask questions. Okay, fine. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.